Let's go to Becky in Austin, Texas. What's up, Becky in Austin?
Hey, Dr. John, just setting down the bricks.
All right, way to go. What'd you set down?
Oh, I have been following you from the beginning. You and AO talking about what your podcast name was going to be, and you and your team have just helped me so tremendously with personal growth. So hats off to you guys. You have a gift.
Thank you so much.
So, the purpose of my call today, my son-in-law of 2.5 years threw a grenade into the middle of trust I had in him with infidelity.
Oh.
And I'm struggling.
He cheated on your daughter?
Sucks. Yeah. And I'm struggling with how to handle a conversation. Do I have a conversation? Do I not have a conversation? I know that it's their thing and I'm not in it. I've shared with my daughter quite a few of your podcast segments, explained to her I was just so mad. I was so mad. And she was devastated. I was devastated. But, I said, these things happen. Mm-hmm. And it's part of life. And you can grow past it. You can grow together. But he's sick and he needs some help. Mm-hmm. And she knows that. And he knows that. And I haven't seen him. And I knew at the time, I was so mad. Don't talk, text, or type. Man, just stay away. Because I didn't want to say the wrong thing. But I'm going to see him, and I don't want it to be where it's this elephant in the room that no one talks about. But at the same time, I don't think there's anything I can tell him that he doesn't already know. Mm-hmm. I don't want to lay guilt and shame, and I just don't know how. I don't know how to approach it.
Oh, man. So, well, thank you for being the single most mature mother-in-law I think I've ever talked to on this show. Yeah. It's incredible.
It's because of you.
Yeah, right. No, I know there's a lot of mature mother-in-laws that call, but your wisdom here is incredible. It's just incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm trying to think of where to start here. Relatively, I instantly know where I want to go with this, but I want to circle around it just for a second. Okay, what was your relationship with this young man before this?
They were together for about a year before they got engaged. He was not from our town, the area where we live, so I didn't know him. I did not know his family. I've noticed, he's always welcome in my home. I felt like I had a good relationship with him, but I noticed that I think he was uncomfortable ever being in the same room with me by himself.
Okay.
I noticed that if my daughter left to go, they have a little toddler. If she went to go tend to the baby, he would get up and kind of follow her. Mm-hmm. And I always would ask him, how's your work? How's your family? Just kind of, scratching the surface and just general conversation, but no in-depth, deep conversation with him ever. I know he's had a lot of issues growing up in his family, lots of dysfunction, with this same infidelity issue. So I'm kind of connecting all the dots. Yeah. He knows it's wrong. He swore he would never do it. And then he did,
that happened.
And I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So the only relationship you can impact is your relationship with him. And so I want you to spend your energy not trying to fix their marriage or to become a marriage, have a radar for their marriage. They're going to have to figure that out. Right. I also think it's wise at some point, and this is going to be really tough, for your daughter to have another confidant other than her mom when it comes to deep marital issues.
Yeah. And just to speak to that, she texted me. He's working 5 hours away. And she texted me out of the blue and said, hey, can you watch the baby this weekend? I'm like, what? What's going on? And she said, well, I need to go, I need to go see my husband. Mm-hmm. But she wouldn't say, well, and it's very uncharacteristic for her just at the last minute, hey, can you watch him? I got to go. And so I called her and she was bawling. Yeah. And she, so I just kind of walked right into it. It's not, otherwise I don't think she would have told me. Okay. Yeah, she has not told her dad because she's afraid of the repercussions on that side. But Anyway, but I understand where you're coming from. And she has not mentioned anything since about, and I haven't asked,
Okay.
have y'all gotten help? Have y'all seen I just kind of have backed out.
Are you assuming that she's staying in the marriage?
Yes.
Okay.
It seems to me that they're working on it. They want to get with better help, and he have a counselor and she has a counselor. Actions speak louder than words.
Sure. All day long.
See, yep. We'll see how that plays out. But yeah, I believe she's putting forth her best effort to try to work through it.
Okay. Last question before I start walking into it. Have you and your husband dealt with infidelity, of course, across your marriage?
We've been divorced for 12 years. When we were married, no.
Okay.
No, not on my family, my parents. Yes, I have lived through that. So I think that's why it's such a sore subject for me, Yeah.
Okay. So I'm assuming that they are working this thing out. And that at this point, your daughter has, the one that you feel confident you raised well, is a good young mom, has got a good head on her shoulders, that she has looked at this situation in her life and said, this is a relationship that I want to continue to invest in. Good for her. Okay.
Yeah.
Any sort of trying to get in between her and that decision, it is just an opportunity to drive a wedge into some relationship, and I just don't see any value in it. Okay.
Right. Right.
The second thing is, you said he was sick. Does he struggle with addiction? Why do you say he's sick?
Because the manner in the way this happened and how she found out, it's like basically he contacted a prostitute but didn't have to pay her. I mean, this is not someone he had a emotional connection with or worked with. And I mean, it just came out of the blue from what she understands. And she was saying, Mom, that's sick. That's sick. And I said, yeah, it is. It is sick. He's sick. He needs help.
Okay.
I feel like he's got some alcohol dependency.
Okay.
But that's not me to speak into,
Yeah. If there is addiction issues that are making your daughter and your grandchild unsafe, it is yours to speak into. Okay. So the way I frame this is not by your hand, but in your lap. You didn't cause any of this, but your daughter called you. She brought you into this. And I'm going to keep my grandchild safe. I'm going to keep my daughter safe. And if she chooses to stay with this guy, then I'm going to model what healthy relationships look like. And healthy relationships do not have elephants in rooms. They don't have secrets, and they forgive. And like you mentioned, they set bricks down and they lean in relationally. And so in my head, I'm trying to think through if this is my daughter and this happens with her husband. And she calls me and says, will you keep our baby? I got to go deal with my husband. And then I call her and say, what's wrong? And she's weeping. And now I'm brought into this thing. Yes, I'm going to be pissed off. I'm going to have to deal with my own issues. That's for me as a grown-up to deal with myself, right?
Right.
So I'm going to go have my friends and my community. If I got to reach out to a counselor, I'm going to do that myself. But when it comes to the relationship, I would sit down with the young man and say, I got brought into this. So here we are. You hurt my daughter and you violated our trust in our family. You threw a grenade here. And she's choosing to stay, which means you're a part of my life now. And that means I would probably do something symbolic for a young man in this situation, like put it on a brick and put tape on it, like masking tape on it, and write it down. Cheated on my daughter. So he could see it. And say, when she called me that night, I've been carrying this around because it hurt me. I lived through this in my family and all that, right? And then the symbolic, and from this point forward, I'm setting it down. But here's what setting it down is going to look like. You and me are going to have breakfast together, or you and me are going to, I'm going to lean into this discomfort in the relationship. And I'll tell you, if you tell him, I feel like every time we're in the same room together, there's some awkwardness. I'm the mother-in-law, so I'll own it. But I want to get to know you, and we're going to I want to spend some time with you. So I'm going to reach out and I want to go do Denny's breakfast once a week. Or if they live too far away, then we're going to fill in the blank. But I want him to see he violated this thing, but he's still going to be a part of your life. And so I'm going to lean in on the healing part of it. And then you can do the good parent thing and say, and if you ever hurt my daughter again, right, I'm a person with special skills. He'll never find you, that kind of thing. And you got to wink at him. But But I think there's something about if you're interested in healing the relationship, and I get that from you. You're interested in healing this thing. You just don't know what's next. Avoidance never works.
Right.
Secrets destroy families. Unhad conversations destroy families. Now, your daughter could come to you and say, please, God Almighty, do not mention anything to him. Don't talk to him. Don't bring it up. It can't happen. And I would push her on that because she brought you into this.
Yeah.
And she might even say that I'm never going to tell you again. You can say, great.
That's fine.
But you told me about this one.
Yeah.
And if he's going to be in my house and I want to invest in this relationship because it's a part of your life. The sucky thing about boundaries is that other people can use them too.
Right.
Okay. And they can use them to cut you out just as much as you can say, here's how my house is going to look like. I hope that isn't the case here. Hopefully he is really repentant and remorseful and is getting the help that he needs and also can be changed over time by the love of his mother-in-law. Maybe the first time somebody's reached out and loved him other than not in a romantic way.
Yeah.
But holy smokes, that'll be hard, right?
Man. Yeah. Your kids are young. The mama bear doesn't go away when they become adults.
No. There's some great research on women and aggression, and especially with their kids, that like men get the aggression stuff all the time in the popular media, but like, man, yeah, mama bear, dude, that's for real. That's for real.
Yeah. So, okay. Well, this has been very helpful.
How does that sound?
Good. I think, just sitting down with them and how you approached it, that, hey, I got brought into this. And like I said, I don't want to guilt him or shame him because I feel like he's living enough of that right now.
Yep.
He's very remorseful and I don't want to throw darts at him. That would not be helpful at all.
So if you're trying to help somebody not live in shame, the only way to not live in shame is to turn the lights on and have vulnerable relationships.
Yeah.
And like, what is it? Brene Brown that says, shame eats secrets for breakfast. That's what fuels shame. And so she's not going to do those. And the path to freedom for him is some really uncomfortable conversations with people he hurt. And those people saying, and I see all of you and I still love you. And I see all of you. And now you got to go to breakfast with me once a week. Ha ha ha.
Yeah.
And it may be so awkward. Stay on the line. I'm going to send you all of them. Every pack of conversations with humans cards that we have. I'm going to send you all of them.
That would be awesome.
But here's the deal.
Yeah.
You can use them and you can say, I got these stupid cards for us to learn how to, not to learn, you don't say anything. Just say, hey, I got these cards and we're going to go to breakfast until we go through every one of these decks. The ones for work, the ones for couples. It's going to get weird between me and you, right? But I think that would be a great way to get to know this guy.
Yeah.
And
that would be,
he may hurt your daughter again. And you can tell him, you've played your card now. Okay?
Yeah.
The next time you hurt my daughter, the next time you violate our trust, her trust as a family, that you, this is going to be a different conversation that we have. Okay, or my boundaries will look different. And that's okay to have hard boundaries and accountability and all that kind of stuff. I think that's really important.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't think she would stay if it happened again. That's why when I talked to her, I explained to her your scenario about the Twin Towers.
Yeah,
and,
they have to do something totally new.
And
it may be that he's not working 5 hours from home anymore. But part of that is a new job. And a part of that is new. Everything's got to be different now, and everything's got to be on the table now. They may have to move away and go live somewhere else. Everything's on the table now. Right? When you're rebuilding after infidelity, especially in a young marriage with a young kid, everything's different now. And great, good, cool, awesome. The thing you can control in all that is you. And even sitting down with your daughter, I would recommend you sit down with her and have a hard conversation. Let her know that you'll be there for her. Let her know that she needs to get close compadres and friends and community. And you need to have a conversation with this guy and all that moving forward. But, that's a tough, I'm just thinking through that, man. My blood boils just thinking about that. And hopefully my daughter's not married for a long, long time. And hopefully she never experiences that. But the data tells me she might. And man, all of us have hard conversations. We have to look in the mirror before we have them and say, well, what's our goal of this conversation and how can we bring about both boundaries and healing. Man, this guy's lucky to have you. It's his mother-in-law. He won the lottery. We'll see you soon.